Hello, Dan.
Hi, Ethan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for
I'm
making the time to meet with me.
absolutely.
I just wanted to talk today, ask you some questions. As someone who plans on having my own business one day, I want to get some insight from someone who is on the path right now to, one day having a successful business. And I know you're a young entrepreneur, and I just want to ask you some things.
Sure.
So to start, what do you do?
Uh, I'm the owner of a exterior cleaning company. We do a lot of power washing and gutter cleaning. We also do roof cleaning and surface cleaning. Um, I started my business last year, and things are going pretty well. So, yeah, we've been fully scheduled recently, and things are going well.
So why did you pick this path? Why exterior cleaning?
So I actually worked for a business out of North Brantford for about 5 years before I started this, and I grew a passion for power washing, and I decided that this was what I wanted to do with my life. I realized that there was a lot of not only a lot of money in this business, but also a lot of joy in it, and I've been doing pretty well in it so far.
And how long have you been doing it for?
Uh, Going on 6 years right now.
Going on 6 years. And when did you start your own LLC?
September of last year.
September of last year. Wow. So what was that? Like that's around like 6, 7 months around something like
Six,
that.
7 months, I'd say. Yes.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, I know you just have started, but I'm sure you face some challenges. Would you like to go into that, or do you have any
Sure.
in mind?
Yeah. So as far as challenges, I'd say, gaining clientele is a large one. When you start a business from the bottom, like I did, it's really difficult to, find clients who are interested in what you do. I am grateful for the fact that I do a lot of subcontracting for the company that I used to work for. So I get a lot of repetitive work from that. But, to find my own clients, I'm averaging about one per week. I do a lot of advertising online, as far as, Instagram and Facebook. I try to take pictures when I'm on my job sites and post them and just try to get people to reach out. And, there are definitely, family friends that reach out to me who are interested in having their house washed or their gutter cleaned. And I do a lot of that, but um, gaining clientele is definitely my biggest challenge.
And I'd assume like this the job you do, is it better in the summer?
Absolutely. Summer is definitely better for power washing and roof cleaning services. As far as the fall time, though, we really don't do much power washing. It's more gutter cleaning. I'd say I do about 10 to 12 gutter cleanings per day, as opposed to in the summer and spring I do about three house washes a day.
Mm.
Um, we really do more power washing in the summer than we do gutter cleaning.
Nice, nice. And do you ever like think about like in the winter, like I don't know, like pivoting to somewhere else or like expanding upon your company for something that would be more.
Sure. Yeah. Winter is definitely tough because we don't have much work. We do some snow removal, but besides that, it's really more of a 2 3 month vacation, I'd say. I'd like to get into plowing at some point, and expand on snow removal.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, especially in that time, I know you're from a small town, so it definitely could be beneficial there. I doubt
Yeah,
there's competition.
definitely. Yep.
And I know your dreaming here is being successful one day and taking over the field you're in. And what would be success for you? What would be a goal? Or how about to make it simpler, what would be a goal you have?
A goal I would have would definitely be to increase my own clientele. Like I said, I have a lot of, you know, I have a lot of residential work that I do as a subcontractor, but I don't have much of my own work. So I would like to, be on a consistent increase year by year as far as gaining my own clientele. I like to bring in at least one job a day for myself. Would be success for me.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think if you keep going down this path, I think you will definitely succeed on that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know you're a young kid, so I'm sure there's been some sacrifices you've had to make. One, I'm assuming would be like college and stuff like that. Could you go into that?
Definitely. So coming out of high school, I didn't get good grades in high school, so I had to resort to community college, and I did classes full time to start out. And then when I decided that I wanted to open my own business, I really had to sacrifice, taking a full schedule on as far as school. So I've cut back. I'm taking only one or two classes a semester. So I definitely have to. It's going to take me much longer to get my degree than a normal student would. So that's definitely one of the sacrifices that you know I have to give.
For sure, yeah. And do you have any advice you'd give to someone like looking to enter into your field?
Yeah, I would definitely say research is important. A lot of people think that power washing is easy. It's a quick money maker, and you really have to know what you're doing. You got to have the right equipment, and experience is important. You don't want to just jump into a field like this. You should really go work for a company that's been doing this for a long time, gain some knowledge, and then when you feel like you're ready, and you want to tackle something like this, you can take it on, but you should definitely gain some experience beforehand.
And I just have a little it's a little fun question. If you weren't doing this right now, what do you think you would be doing? Like what else would interest you?
Uh, I'm actually I'm a business major, so I think if I wasn't doing this, I'm not sure exactly what field I would be in, but I really am big on business, and I would stick with that. I don't like the idea of being stuck behind a desk, so I would
I agree with
definitely,
you on that.
yeah, I love being a business owner. It's what I do, and I would stick with that no matter what, whether it was in this field or not. Um, but yeah,
Would you be interested into like having like maybe like a different business on top of this, like like getting more into like the entrepreneurial type of,
sure, absolutely. I've thought of either landscaping or, like I said before, snow removal, something like that. But definitely more on the small business side of things.
So like you were saying, like in the winter it's tough, and I'm sure like gaining the clientele and all this, like starting like I'm sure it's really easy to lose motivation and not be as, confident and stuff like that. How did you stay motivated?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had, clients where I give them an estimate, and, they either don't respond or they decline the estimate because they think it's too much or whatnot. It's definitely tough. You're gonna have your ups and your downs. But for the most part, as long as you keep pushing forward and you keep your head up and you stay confident, and, you know what you're doing. You really just gotta keep with it, and as long as you do, you're gonna be successful.
And no, we've been talking about a lot of, not so great things, like saying you're not too proud moments in the hardships. But I want to talk about a moment so far in your young career that was particularly like rewarding, like that's something that made you feel good and like kind of like kept you going.
Absolutely. So one example would be I actually had a job recently where I had the opportunity to go down to New Jersey and wash a roof in a house for someone, and that was my biggest ticket job so far. And jobs like that definitely make you feel good. Not only because you make a lot of money, but because you're able to help others out. Um, you know,
Yeah.
um, it's definitely rewarding to be able to you know take these jobs on, and
Yeah, would you be like interested in going outside of state for like more jobs like that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like this job yesterday, they were putting their house on the market for sale, and I was able to wash the house for them, wash the roof for them, so that a realtor could come in and take pictures. When someone's looking to buy a house, the first thing they see is the pictures online of the outside of the house. So when I wash it for them, it their you know increases their ability to sell the house. So I would love to do more jobs out of state. I've always said I have no limit as far as where I will go. I definitely chase the work.
And it's okay if you don't answer this next question, but like I know if like finance and stuff like that, but so like I'm assuming like if it's out of state, like they know that. So do you charge them more? Like how does that work? Because you're obviously going out of state and stuff like that. Do they know that? Are they okay with that?
Way it is, it really comes down to travel fees.
Yeah.
Like the job I was speaking about was in New Jersey, so it was about 3 hours each way. So I did charge a little more for traveling that far. Um, if it was in Connecticut, if it was in state, I would have charged less, um, just because it was closer. But like I said before, I have no limit to as far as I will go, as long as the
It's a
money is
fair
right.
return, yeah.
Right, exactly.
And I know a lot of people don't like talking about themselves. Like kind of like people like, oh, name three things that you think you're good at, and stuff like that. But do you think there's like a skill, like a particular skill? You don't have to name more than one, but just a skill that like allows you to be in this position and that makes you like be good at this.
Sure. It like you were just saying, finances are extremely important. You have to stay on top of your finances, as far as your expenses. Expenses are a big thing, as well as overhead when you're running a business. When you're quoting jobs, you have to make sure that you are not only making a lot of money, but you have to know what you're spending to get that job done. Particularly in my field, we use a lot of not only gas, but we use pool shock to wash houses and roofs. So we have to know how much we're going to use on each job, um, to get it done. And then we have to calculate what we would like to make on each job.
Mm. It's another question I have because wait, how old are you again? If you're comfortable answering that.
22.
22. So a lot of kids that in that age are not running full-on businesses, LLCs, and a
Sure.
lot of them are doing, they're in college, maybe partying, maybe doing whatever. But how do you balance like, you're running your business, but then also, having friends being so young, wanting to maybe do other things that, kids
Right.
that age are doing. That's not a
Absolutely.
knock, by the way. I'm just saying like that's impressive.
Yep. Yeah. So as much time as I spend on actual job sites, I typically work between 7 and 8 hours per day. And at nighttime, I work on my schoolwork, and then on Saturdays, I'll take a couple hours to you know log my expenses on Excel spreadsheets, and make sure I'm keeping track of everything. I also track my receipts and whatnot. And I also really try to make time for my family and my friends on the weekends. So I do try to do a good job at keeping a balance between work and personal life.
I feel like a lot of people in your position may probably struggle finding a balance, but that's great that you have found
Yeah.
your balance.
Yep.
And is there any trends or like competitors like that like can like I don't know how to explain this, but like maybe like that can impact the future of like your industry that you're in? Like
Can you expand on that?
expand that. So like is there any trends you see like in the future that could either like benefit you or like be a hindrance to you if you understand kind of what I'm trying to say?
Sure. The company I used to work for, based out of North Branford. Um, is looking to sell at some point, and I'd be extremely interested in purchasing this business in the future. And that would greatly benefit me because I'd be able to merge both companies. Um, and that would be very good for my future. There's definitely, I talk a lot about, my family lives down in Florida, and everyone asks me why I don't open a power washing company down there. And it's because power washing companies are a dime a dozen. There's so many down there, and you know,
So you'd like to take over here, where there's
right.
not as much competition.
There's not as many. There's not as much competition in this area, so it's definitely better to start a business up here. So I definitely see a bright future for myself going forward, and I hope that everything goes well.
All right, so I have just like two more questions left, and they're not going to be as, complicated. So
Sure.
where do you ideally see yourself in 10 years? Would this be with your business, your personal life?
Sure, absolutely. I definitely in 10 years I would, I'd love to, have a full schedule on my hands, and I'd love to, have my family and a nice house, have a nice car, be able to support myself without, worrying about finances. Like I said, a full schedule of work is definitely most important.
That's the dream, isn't it? And one last question. If you could go back and give your younger self career advice, what would it be?
Career advice.
Yeah, no, that was, I said no more tough questions. That's a little tough.
That one's a tough one.
Like, let's see. Let's see how we could reward this. If you go back in time and how about if you go back in time and change something that could benefit you now, you think? Or
Sure. If I could go back in time, I spoke about this earlier. Like I said, I didn't have great grades in high school. If I could go back in time, I would, do a little better. I would get into a good school. I would probably, you know, get my degree beforehand, just to learn a lot more about
Mhm.
business administration in general and management before I started my business. I think that would be beneficial. But I'm at a point now where I feel like, um, not to say that there's no turning back, but I feel like, you know, it's important for me to go to school while I manage this business. So if I could do it again, I would probably go to school for 4 years.
Yeah. Sorry, do you hear me? I think it cut out.
You there?
Yeah, sorry, it cut out.
Oh,
My connection's a little unstable,
what
but
was the last thing you heard?
um, pretty much that you well, you're pretty much saying, that you wish you'd kind of finished up with your degree first, and then
Yeah, yeah. Like what I was saying was, if I were to do it again, I would probably, I would finish up my degree before I started my business. I feel like I'd benefit from that, as far as my knowledge, uh, my knowledge within business administration and management before going into becoming a business owner. But
yeah, I mean, we all have our own, separate paths, and I think the path you are on is honestly like I don't know, everything happens for a reason.
yep, exactly, exactly.
And I know I said that was it, but just to finish up, is there any like advice you have for me who plans on, one day also having my own business?
Yeah, like I said before, it's definitely important to, you know, finish school, learn as much as you can about business administration and management. Do your research. Find something you love, find something you enjoy doing every day, and once you've found that, and definitely go for it. It's all about taking risks. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without taking the risk. I know there's a lot of people that don't take the risk of becoming their own, becoming self-employed, and they fall victim to the nine to five life, and that's definitely tough. But if you're ambitious and you're willing, starting your own business is definitely rewarding.
Yeah, that's some great advice, and I just want to thank you again for making the time to meet with me, and I really appreciate again, yeah, I appreciate your time and all the advice, and honestly, I can say I've learned a lot from you, and thank you, and I'll definitely use some of the things you said for my future career, future business, whatever it is.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.